So we're beginning with the shoulder presses for shoulders and arms, and we're just doing a very basic exercise, but probably not in the way that you've done them in the past. So I'm getting the weights. So we take a regular bar, can be a fixed one, can also be a barbell, you know, the long ones. But the basic setup is that you set it so that when the bar is at the top of your head, then your elbows are in a 90-degree angle. So you see there's a 90-degree angle. And my arms are very long, so you know I should preferably or possibly hold a little wider. But you know, this one is a very good one to use because you can push with your hands against the end of the weight. You know, you see this side, and of course you should be focusing mainly on this part of the deltoids of delts. So you're doing. You go behind the ears, so you go below 90 degrees, but you don't have to go all the way down. And I like to tell people that you should go down to their ear lobes. And then you extend fully, but you don't lift the shoulders up, of course. And then you go down to the chin and up, behind the head to the earlobes and up. And I do like 8 of each to warm up, and then you do like 4 to 5 sets, increasing the weight each time. And you can either do this as a standalone exercise, or you can mix this with doing biceps, and that would be just basically the good old one that we've all done. So shoulder width apart, extending the arms, going up to this angle here where there's maximal concentration on the biceps. Because if you go higher than this, you see you're actually extending the elbows and you're starting to lift the weight. It's like a reverse grip shoulder press. So you just go up to this height here and you stop here, and for every repetition that you do, you go slower on the way down in these two exercises, the shoulder press and the bicep curl. So you go slower when the muscle is resisting to lengthen. So this is called a positive or concentric part of the contraction, and this is called the negative or the eccentric part. So during the eccentric, when the muscle fibers are struggling against lengthening, is giving you 60-65% of the results that you get from training. So if you go up and you slowly down, you're missing 65% of the exercise. So you can do this one first, and immediately afterwards you can do the biceps curl. And in the biceps curl, you're focusing on the supination. So there's pronation, thumbs down movement, and there's supination, thumbs up. So you're thinking about the thumbs up movement, and during that part of the movement, you actually think that the little finger is higher than the thumb, like this. So this is supination. And you just watch your bicep when you supinate. This is a part of what makes your bicep, you know, look bigger, because it causes further contraction. You even see it here, even though I'm wearing a sweater. So you concentrate on having more weight on this part of the hand than this part of the hand. So like here, and you'll feel it immediately in the contraction of the muscle. And then we go to tricep extensions. And these are fantastic to do, but of course, if you're doing these alongside doing the shoulder presses, then you're going to be, struggling a little because the triceps get very tired very easily. And it's, you can do it, and I often do it. So in this exercise, you're holding the weights here. You've definitely done this before, but there are a few pointers that I'd like to give you. And in the triceps, it's called French press. It's called several different kinds of names. So you have a similar grip to what you had for the biceps. And what's most important here is that the shoulders are down, and I say down in the same way that they would be down if you were in an upright position. And then the arms lean, and they lean like this the whole time, because if you go straight above the body, then you're just resting. This here causes the triceps to be working full time. You shouldn't flare the elbows too much, so to try to keep them, straight above the shoulder, more or less. And here also, like the bicep, it has two heads. The triceps have three heads. So whether you put the weight here or here has a very different effect on where in the triceps this ends up, the majority of the work. So in this one, you're stopping here and flexing the biceps, making sure that the shoulders are down, and I go up here, and there's more or less, there's no relaxation for the triceps. And that's why I'm saying, if you're doing this with the shoulder presses that you were doing standing up, then you're going to end up very tired in the triceps, But if your triceps are weak, it might actually be a good idea as part of a shock therapy. And I'm not talking about like going outside and walking naked shock therapy. It's more like shock therapy for the muscles. And an alternative to this one, or these exercises, are using dumbbells. And like you mentioned yourself, you tend to use dumbbells a lot, and that's the same for me. So with using dumbbells, it's actually great because if you have, and resistance bands and dumbbells have many things in common. One of the better exercises to do to get like full effect of training with, and the same goes of course for the resistance bands, is that you're using one arm at a time and you're going here like this. So it's a very similar movement. You're a little closer to the body. You're not like this, because with the barbell you have support. Here you have to be a little more careful with the shoulder joint, because the shoulder joint is the only one that can do circumduction, and it's the most movable joint, but at the same time it's the most susceptible to injuries. So you have to be careful with it. And in this one, just in maintaining an erect posture, you're working the sides a lot. Well, this is actually for somebody like me that doesn't like doing abs that much, probably from having trained gymnastics when I was younger. I was on the national team for gymnastics in Iceland. So it's a great way to work the abs and the core without actually having to do some crunches or some crap. And additionally, for this one, you can use it like if you were...
Sorry to disturb you. Have you seen anything over there that happens whilst you're working out? Nothing?
No.
That's fine.
Probably a stabbing or something. Okay, so you're doing, you're changing this exercise into an Olympic lifting exercise. So you take the dumbbell from here, you move it over the shoulder and up and down, like this. And this is a great exercise too because it activates a lot of the muscles in the core. And you can do this with, you know, heavy weights, but you know, you have to be always careful with the shoulder joint because it is susceptible to injury. And then of course there are two great exercises that you can do. One is side lateral raises. This one here, where you're again focusing on the medial head, the middle head of the deltoids, and also the posterior, like when you're in this position here. You know, this is a 15 kilogram weight. It might be a little too heavy to begin with, and but it's a great one to use as well. And well, I wonder what's going on over there. I hope it's not the stabbing. Holy crap. Yeah. Well, unbelievable. So then we're going down to the bench again. And a great exercise on the bench is the bicep curl. And in this one you can focus on the supination. See, supination, the thumb is lower than the little finger. And I'm supinating here. And what I do, I think of my thigh. So I go to the middle of my thigh and then to the middle of the, you know, widest and the tallest parts of it. And that's where I stick my elbow. It's like if you did a cross here and you put your elbow in the middle of the cross. And you lean forward and this hand here goes close to the stomach and close to the body. Otherwise you're using this as leverage. And of course you definitely don't want to do that. So you're going like this, holding the flexion, and you're going slower on the way down than on the way up. And this supinating movement, see, I'm supinating here. And same goes for the other side as well. And you're trying to bring the center of gravity closer to the body, not like leaning like here, because then you'll be moving the whole body like this. You're just focusing on the bicep, and the elbow is in a locked position the whole time. It's a great exercise to do. And with this one, we have this one here, tricep kick up. This is a great exercise here because you can hold the elbow here, but you can actually be using a lot of weight and make the elbow steady by holding it, and thereby making the tricep work much more than it usually does, because the upper arm bone, humerus, is in a locked position, and therefore the tricep is striving all, you know, throughout the movement. And you can of course do the shoulders in a sitting position too, where you're sitting here, leaning forward a little, going out to the sides like this, and also you're moving, you're lying all the way on your thighs like this and going here. But you always have to keep the focus on the back delt or the side delt. That's, you know, you have to be focusing on those. Otherwise it'll just end up in the trapezius, and you don't want to end up looking like the old Coca-Cola bottles, you know, like this. You want to be like this. So these are some of the basic exercises you can do. There are all kinds of variations. You can do hammer curls like this. This is a very, very good exercise to do. And especially when you have the elbow pinned down. And yeah. So let's start with these. So these are the first exercises. And we'll just work, you know, keep on working together from now on. But this is a great routine to do, and you don't have to rely on somebody else for spotting you or anything. So, you know, for now you should be good with this. This is shoulders and arm, day 1.